Hey, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm talking to someone who's new to the show here, and actually kind of new to me. I've been following your stuff on online on Instagram mainly, and that's kind of what made me want to reach out and find out more about it because I think that you're doing something that's definitely unusual for the type of person I have on the show here. I talk to a wide variety of artists, but I don't think I've had anyone on the show yet who makes beats outside. and obviously there's a lot more to what you do than that, but I think the best way to get this started is if you want to just introduce yourself and a little bit of background about your music, and then we can go from there.
Hey, so my name is Josue Davi. If you can't pronounce that, you can call me Joshua.
Sounds
'Cause
good.
my government name is Joshua, but it's an artist I go by Josue Davi. I'm 21-year-old artist from Treaty 1 territory, Winnipeg, Manitoba. I make weird stuff. Like, I try to be experimental with what I do. Lots of it's R&B and jazz influenced.
Yeah.
Just like that kind of like old school hip hop to bossa nova, just like anything that's related to jazz in some kind of way is like
Okay.
really cool to me. So I make those videos on Instagram as you were talking about. I make beats outside apparently now. I didn't, when the first time I did it, I didn't intend for that to be a trend. I was just like, okay, I gotta make a beat video quick. It was like 9 a.m. or something. I was like, all right, I want to do something like by like noon. So just like, what can I do? Just went out, sat in the garden, did one there, and then people seemed to think that was really cool. And since then, I've had my buddy Cade Jones, who's been helping me do them. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to Mark De La Cruz, who's been helping me shoot some of these.
Cool.
But yeah, Caden's been definitely helping me push the barrier and trying to make me go in less comfortable and more dangerous spots to create music.
Well, yeah, like you're on a train, middle of train tracks, or in the back of a van, moving van, and stuff like. So,
yeah.
Obviously, that for the viewer and the listener, that makes it more fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess the act of making a beat can be, it's a little bit. You're sitting at a desk and you're pressing buttons, right? So this definitely adds to the excitement of it, but. How does it affect your actual creativity? Like when you're actually doing this, do you have to take that into account, kind of the surroundings, or?
So the van one and the train tracks were like my heart was kind of going. Like I've never been that like on edge while I'm trying to be creative. So I think it probably translated into the music a bit. Like some of my notes were a little sporadic, and I was just like trying to keep my footing and make sure my laptop doesn't fly out the trunk and all that stuff. But
yeah, it's cool. It's definitely different. I've seen a lot of videos of people making beats because it's it's a thing people do, obviously, right? But yeah, they stand out for sure, and not just because you're in dangerous locations or you're outside, but like the beats are really cool too. Like you said, there's all the jazz elements and there's like funk stuff happening and bossa nova and hip hop. Like, where does all that come from? Like you said, you're 21. What kind of musical background do you have that sort of led to putting all this together?
It's so funny because it just doesn't make sense at all.
Okay.
Like I was raised in a house that had no rap. Like I would hear like a Black Eyed Peas song here or there. Like that was the rap I was exposed to until like junior high kind of, and then I got put on to like some like I guess they're kind of beyond new school now, but like I got put on to like the like the Odd Future and the Childish Gambino, like that era, like when those were all like at their kind of peak, was when I sort of got into it, and I was like, wow, like I really love this. Like it's so like just like against the machine, against the system, like that kind of deal. Because like what I was raised on was like rock, like like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that, Guns N' Roses, and
so like classic rock radio kind of stuff, eh?
Yeah, even like hair metal and stuff too, like it was like White Snake and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like stuff like that, Def Leppard.
What's a big jump then to get into hip hop and jazz and stuff? I mean, it's the completely
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
Yeah, no, because I there's just so much. It's so vast, and as soon as like became introduced, I was like just had to like explore as much as I could, and I was like, wow, like there's so much variety to this because I was always like had that outside perspective that like rap is, has all these like stigmas to it, and like that was just like the environment I was raised in,
sure.
but rap often gets like put in a fairly narrow box of, you know, just talking about terrible things and being disrespectful and
Sure, yeah.
stuff like that, which is obviously not what hip hop is, and like
It's a
as a whole.
small sliver of what hip hop is, right? There's
Yeah,
obviously
like
so much more. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's such yeah, just absolutely so vast. So yeah, yeah, I don't know, I just collect like different different sounds like whenever I can. The first vinyl record I ever got was Remember Me, I'm the One Who Loves You by Dean Martin,
Okay, okay.
which is like, I remember being in like a Goodwill and I was like looking through the records. I didn't have a record player, but I'd
Yeah,
been like harassing my family for one for Christmas. And then I got that, and then I ended up getting the record player that like next Christmas. And the first time I like put down a vinyl and like listened to it, and it was like an old vinyl. It was like such a weird way to take in the music. Like I grew up with like streaming and
yeah.
downloading and stuff, so like everything's always been like the like high quality and like lossless formats and stuff, and there was just something different about it, and I kind of fell in love with just old dusty ass records
Yeah, there's something to
and
them,
stuff
eh?
like that.
There's a vibe that you get from them for sure.
Yeah,
Well, and I
it's
think that's something that, like, at my age, I'm close to 40 here. Like, it's totally that's a totally different experience as far as listening to music. We might have even listened to some of the same stuff, but just the format and just the way that you had, with streaming and everything's at your fingertips, right? Rather than going to the
mm,
record store and digging and stuff, which is all kind of part of the experience, when I was growing up, and kids
mm-hmm.
now, like, and your age and younger, that doesn't, I mean, it exists if they want to do it, but it's not sort of the
Yeah.
standard format, right? So it's cool that you sort of went back and did that kind of old way of consuming music, and that you're still into it.
Yeah, no, like I get obsessed with it. If I ever go into a record store, I'm gonna be in there for a long time. Um, because yeah, I've realized like I've become so open because like as I was saying, like I was closed off to like the entire genre of hip hop
Yeah,
as a kid, and like I just realized how crazy that is to be like, obviously it's fair to not like a song or even, however, anyone can have their opinions or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, can't be like that picky. I've just become very like open-minded about it and find like I have such an appreciation for styles that are drastically different than mine. Like
okay.
I would love to be able to sing opera, and that
Oh,
sounds
cool.
so
Yeah,
like not expected, but like listening, if I listen to opera, like I remember I discovered like Andrea Bocelli when I was like um going through that, like when I was digging into old stuff, and I was
yeah,
like, this is like incredible, like this is like a superhuman
yeah, yeah,
talent,
yeah.
like
It's like a superpower, right? It's like, yeah, it's like this ability beyond singing. Yeah,
it's so powerful
yeah,
like that, like and opera's so not cool, like it's so bizarre to me like how much talent just doesn't, like, people don't really think about, like, unless you're in these particular like demographics of
yeah.
people who attend operas, like
Have you been to an opera?
no
It's
like
awesome. It's awesome. I've been to like three of them, and it's
yeah
for similar reasons too. It's just like I kind of wanted to see. what it was like, because I heard some of it and I liked it, and I was like, this is I don't know anything about this, and I had no frame of reference for anything. So my
Yeah.
wife and I went to a few of them, and it's fun. Like I'll definitely go again. It's I'm on the young side for being in the audience for sure. Like
Yeah.
even even my age, but like it's cool. Yeah, it's a totally different like music intake experience than anything else I've
Hmm.
listened to. So
Yeah, I definitely, well, I don't know when that's going to be a
yeah,
in
because the
the realm of
pandemic.
possibility, but like that's something that I would definitely love to do. Um, but yeah, like I just yeah, that was all I was saying, was digging into things that are fully outside of what I can do. Like
Yeah. Well, you're drawing from all these different areas, and you're, like you said, you've expanded kind of your horizons musically, and what in terms of what you're taking in. How do you define what your output is? Like, what do you call it? The stuff that you make. Do you have
um
a good way to describe it? I mean, they're
it's
beats clearly, right? But like, yeah, is
I
there
don't know,
more?
it sounds so like oh look at me, I'm different, like to be like oh like I don't know, I don't have a genre, like I don't want to come off pretentious like that.
Yeah.
When I started rapping first when I was like in middle school, so like almost 9 years now. I was like started writing raps, and
Okay.
then about a year into that was when I started trying to learn how to make beats. And after like 7 8 years of making beats now, I'm like at a stage where I'm comfortable with it. The only reason I say I don't have a genre is like I like to do songs. Like I have a song that sounds very like Brazilian that
Okay.
I play at my shows, and then I'll also make something like Flying Lotus, like
Cool.
weird, like experimental lo-fi sounds and stuff. So like generally I just say like it's kind of like jazzy hip hop beats. Like that's a fairly broad umbrella that it
Yeah.
can most of the time fit in. But like really anything that's derived from jazz, honestly.
Okay. Which is a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel that kind of having that jazz element to what you do, and that jazz influence, does that open doors for you as far as maybe being able to play shows or reach audiences that just saying you were straight ahead hip hop musician would
Uh,
would have? Or
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, there's definitely like still a certain sect of people who are turned off by like the word hip hop
yeah.
or rap or something like that. So um yeah, like I always just say artist, and then like anytime I'm networking or I'm speaking with musicians, most of the time whatever they do I can find some kind of common ground with them and
Okay.
get some kind of level to talk to them, like um whether it's like a funk band, or like a solo like trap rapper or something. Like I I'm because I'm genuinely curious and interested in what they're doing. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's a good place to be in, right? Where you have that kind of flexibility that you're not sort of pigeonholed, especially like, this early on too, right? You don't want to be stuck as the guy who makes this. And then that's
Hmm.
kind of what you have to do for your whole,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And it's funny, like a lot of the times, like with these beat videos that I do, I feel like I do feel a bit like one trick pony, and I'll think like, oh, these all kind of sound like the same, and then I go back and some of them really don't sound the same. So I'm like, I'm starting to realize like I don't know. I think I'm hypercritical of myself in terms of that, because like
yeah,
generally those videos are mostly made up on the spot. Like sometimes I'll get like a sample or something and then like chop it up and like get all these like audio tracks like set up to do like basically like loop pedal
yeah.
playing on steroids, because like I have like infinite tracks to my disposal and all this stuff. But yeah.
So what's kind of your future plans with this? I mean, the beat videos are awesome, and I assume you can probably keep doing those forever.
Yeah.
And you never kind of run out of opportunities to improvise and make beats and do them in weird places. But like, what's sort of the goal? Are you putting together any kind of release in the upcoming future, or what are you hoping to do with that?
I I'm making an album. It's not something that is at a stage where I can like fully dive into it just
Sure,
because
sure.
it's I'm still creating it. I really just I don't know. I love the production aspect of it, and I think there's a lot of realms I want to go down. I want to get into film scoring. Actually,
Oh,
is
cool.
something I want to get to down the line. But really playing more shows, like when that's the more
When
possible
shows
that
can happen, yeah,
gets.
yeah.
Because like there's been some small things, and it's sort of being like figured out. Like everyone's trying to figure out the ethics of like how to properly do something like that now. And
Sure.
but yeah, just
Well,
playing more shows. I'm trying to find new types of content to do on Instagram, so it's not so monotonous all the time. But
yeah,
I think that like the doing the dangerous locations is sort of part of that.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think I want to get back into rapping a bit more because rapping's really fun. I I do it here and there, but I've just been focused a lot on the production side for the past couple of years now.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get more back into that. But yeah, I guess I'm probably just looking to work with other artists in the city more.
Well, I was going to ask
Yeah,
about that actually. Like, what was your sort of introduction to the local music scene? Because I know we kind of talked about what you listened to growing up and stuff, but
yeah.
how did you sort of get involved in what's going on here? Because you know, again, because you're sort of nebulous sound wise, you could fit into a bunch of different subgenres. But I mean, I'm assuming the hip hop scene is probably where you started out, especially since you said you've been rapping since middle school, right?
Yeah. So shout out to Nestor Winrush.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pip Skid. And shout out to Graffiti Art Gallery and
Mm.
Studio 393.
Cool, cool.
For those who don't know, Studio 393 is a drop-in art program in Portage Place. It's been down with everything with COVID, but it's been a place for a good number of years now where youth can go and record music, learn how to
Yeah,
dance, make art, make sculptures, like vast different things, learn photography. Like they really hook you up with like really talented people who are good educators who can help you build skills, and
okay.
it's all like for free for the community. So I was attending there when I was like that age, when I was like starting to get more into rapping. And yeah, Patrick has been someone who I've considered to be a mentor as well as Ness.
Well, those are good guys to have, like,
Yeah,
kind of when you're starting out too, right? Because I mean, they've been involved in the scene so deeply and for so long, and it put
yeah.
out so much awesome music, both of them too. That it's like, yeah, it's very cool to have that as your introduction to the local rap scene, right? Like,
Oh my God, Pip. Oh man, I love like I. It's funny, like anytime I talk to Ness, like Ness will not let me play his music around him. He gets so upset. Like he'll just be like, "Oh, turn that off now."
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I love it so
I
much,
do too.
though.
I do too.
I love, and Pip, like Pip, like they're both the kind of like the humble, like kind of keep to yourself, quiet kind of guy, and like both of them, they won't
Yeah,
let you praise them. It's kind of funny, but yeah, no, I so much love for those guys.
yeah.
They've helped me from like getting me my first opportunities to play shows in like 2015, 2014, something like that, and learn just so much over the years, and really helped me, yeah, get my foot in the door with some pretty important people who I've met now. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Have you, again, not to dwell too much on the jazz side of things, but have you ventured into Winnipeg's jazz community as well?
Um, not like not how as much as I'd like to. My like to listen list
Yeah,
is so ridiculous. Like
yeah. No,
there's
I got one of those too. Yeah,
so much stuff. Like there's too much music. Like there's too much music coming out every single day.
yeah.
Have listened to everything I want to. But that is definitely something that I want to like dive more into. I mean, I like Super Duty Tough Work. They're still
Yeah,
hip hop, but
yeah, those guys are
you
great.
know,
Yeah,
you could also call them like a jazz outlet. I recently found Apollo Sun stuff
yeah, great band too. Yeah,
on Instagram. Those guys are phenomenal. Oh my
yeah,
god, their
super
stuff's
approachable
crazy.
too. Like those guys are super like just you talk to them, they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
personable, which is awesome, right? Because I mean, it's kind of nice when you. One of the things I've learned from doing this show for as long as I have is that like a lot of people I have on the show are when I started out anyway, were people I was friends with already,
Mm.
and then like after I ran out of friends to, to interview on the show, and I reached out to people, and a lot of the people who I grew up listening to turned out to be just awesome people, right? Like and people who I was a fan of, and I reached out to come on the show, and they turned out to be great. So it's like one of the best things I think about Winnipeg's music scene is that for the most part, there's exceptions obviously, but most people are super willing to help and to like listen to what you have to say, listen to what kind of music you're making, and it's a very
Yeah.
welcoming. I don't know if you found the same thing, but
Yeah, like I mean, everyone says it's like a small town in a big city, right? Like
yeah,
anyone knows someone. So like,
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
and that's such a beneficial thing in something like a music scene. Like it's really possible to like if you're someone who like wants to be an artist right now and doesn't know where to start, like there's a lot of resources
yeah,
out there in the city. Like it's really made for that, and it makes it really easy. And I definitely consider myself like super privileged to have had like a lot of the resources that I've had at my disposal to learn how to do a lot of these things. And you know yeah, definitely like anyone trying to learn anything about that should be getting in touch with like the people at graffiti art.
yeah.
And depend I mean, obviously that's broad depending what people would want to do, but most likely can have some assistance in getting your foot off the ground.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I've been asking a lot of people over the past few months since I've been doing these remotely is how the pandemic has affected them. But I feel like you're in a position where, I mean, I'm sure it's affected you, but in type of music you're doing, you're making beats, you're doing a lot of this just on your own. Has this been a period where you've found like you've had more creativity, or has it been difficult to kind of get motivated to do some of this stuff?
um Up and down. So when lockdown first started, I was off work for a while and
Yeah,
just in the house. I think maybe the first couple days of that, I probably made like 6 beats, and then after that, it was just really like cabin fever, kind of just
yeah, yeah,
not, that wasn't good for anyone's mental health, right? So I definitely lost some creative drive there for a while, but I've since like gotten back to doing work, and everyone's able to leave under certain conditions and whatnot. So um, being able to get out in the sun and have I think probably the fact that I do them outside is probably helpful for the motivation, actually, because
I believe it. Yeah,
doing it in my bedroom all the time would be not very motivating. And I feel like I would be really lazy and just be like, I'm in my room, and just sort of be like relax mode and not be productive. But if I'm outside, if I'm sitting on train tracks, I don't have time to
you
mess around. Like I just got to do it and go.
gotta do
And
it quick and get out of there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I think that's something I've been working on is trying to keep up a consistency with it. And I even being back at work, like I'm not back like a lot, so I have a lot of time still
Yeah.
to do lots of music. So yeah, it up and down for sure, but yeah.
Well, and I guess like again, being a solo artist too, you're not. Like, a lot of times you get a band and they have 5 people. They physically can't meet, right? So at least you have that
Hmm.
on your side where you can sit there and you can work on stuff. You can't collaborate, I guess, unless it's
Yeah.
online. But you at least have the ability to get your gear out and start working, right?
Yeah, no, I've definitely spent a while like working on getting a setup that's like exactly what I need, like trying to find, because like if you see people like my whole live looping thing was inspired a lot by people like Tash Sultana,
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
FKJ, or French Kiwi Juice as he's also known, who do lots of stuff with FKJ works with Ableton, and Tash Sultana does lots of live guitar looping. And
Yeah. It's with pedals, right? With her.
yeah,
Yeah.
for her, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, wow, like that's so
It's pretty cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because I already was making beats, but I was sitting down, taking 3 hours and coming up with something in my room, like, which, you know, I still do. There's limitations to working
Yeah.
on the spot with a looper, and obviously you can't do the same you could do fully producing it. But yeah, like I was like watching those and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. And it gets really like a lot to digest, trying to get a setup that works. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many like working parts. Like, I mean, depending on my setup, like lots of my videos, I don't have all my gear. I just have a little tiny keyboard. But some of the ones that I do like actually at home with all my gear, like I have like such a janky like MacGyver setup right now with like I have a vinyl a record player and a cassette deck, like all running through like different kinds like RCA cables into like a mixer, and then there's like just
Yeah.
it's a whole mess like here. And but I understand it, you know, like
Yeah.
it
That's all
makes
that
sense
matters,
in
right?
my
As long as
head.
it works for
Yeah,
you, you're good. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah, I don't know, I love like building that, because I don't know, it feels like it almost feels as if like I've like built my own instrument, in the sense like, not that it's I'm my own instrument, I'm playing a keyboard, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I have it in a way that is fully unique to me. Like, I mean, I'm not the only person using Ableton, but
But the
you're the
setup is
exact
yours. Yeah.
setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like I couldn't go in there and just suddenly start playing something because I don't know how you have everything connected. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I've also realized, that it can be hard to collab in terms of that. Like, I've only ever done these live loops aside from solo with my buddy K Jones, and we did a video like sitting playing on his yard
Yeah. I saw
in
that. I saw that one.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So like that one, like we had some miscommunications like while recording it, and like because I'm, you know, using this board to run loops and stuff, and he doesn't know, like I don't know when he's gonna start a loop and all this stuff. So
Sure.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
having it all in my head is really easy for me. And I love the setup. I would definitely love to have an actual band though.
Yeah. Well, I guess like, a stripped down version of what you're doing too works well for collaborating with other live musicians, right? Like, I mean, the keyboard itself anyway, and then I'm sure you can introduce loops to that and things like that as well.
Yeah, I haven't done much, but if any if any artists, any, you know, musicians who have seen my page are listening to this, you know, hit me up. I'm definitely looking to bring other people
Cool.
into it. I know a couple guitar players and people of different disciplines that I think would be really cool to do some kind of feature
Yeah.
on my page for that. So that's
Awesome.
definitely something I definitely like love working, like playing with other people. Like we were talking about Super Duty Tough Work.
Yeah.
We through so a few years ago through Studio 393 we played Nuit Blanche, and we all got the opportunity to play basically our songs, like any of us there who had songs made and ready to go. Super Duty transcribed them
Oh, awesome.
and learned how to play them and played them live with us on
That's so
stage
cool.
at
Yeah.
Nuit Blanche. And like that was my first time like being introduced to Super Duty, and I didn't even realize at the moment what a blessing that was, because since then they like, I mean, their music's just so incredible, but
It's really good. Yeah. Yeah.
they've just been skyrocketing since. Like they've been doing so well with everything, and with their EP and all these, you know, prize nominations
Yeah.
and whatnot.
I was really hoping they'd get on the short list for the Polaris.
Did they miss the cut?
They got on the long list. They weren't on the short list
Okay.
though. Yeah,
Well, perfect.
I was one of the jurors. I'm on the Polaris jury, and I was
Mhm.
like really pushing for them, but it didn't. I get it though. Winnipeg is such a small city compared to some of these other cities, and you
Yeah,
can't always expect a local band. I mean, that tape is so good though. It's so good.
they have such a like just raw hip hop sound that you don't like.
Yeah.
Like I got a chance to also interview them for a Stylus
Oh,
article
right on.
when their EP was coming out, and I was talking to Brendan about like the ways that they craft these songs, and like I guess a lot of them are beats that are made. I believe his name's, I don't want to get his name wrong. I think his Instagram handle was Ye1. I
Okay.
can't remember what his I think he had another moniker he was going by though. Was producing beats for them, and then they would transcribe them, and it's like MPC stuff mixed in with a whole jazz
Like a
outlet
horn
with like,
section. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so incredible. Like there was a Black Lives Matter rally like event thing at the Forks recently,
Yeah.
and Super Duty played there, and I was there with some buddies of mine who had never heard of them, and so the whole like show leading up to it, like they were closing out the night, and the whole show leading up to it was like a few like people playing some instruments and people rapping to backing tracks, and
Yeah.
I was doing that too, and then they were gonna come up, and I was like to my buddy, I was like, yo, you're not ready for this. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, yo, just trust me.
Yeah.
And then some of them get set up at like Kevin goes and sits down at the drums, and he's like, okay, cool. And then like it just starts to just, they all pour in, and they just you realize that, oh, like this is a whole like well
Yeah.
organized, like proper, like they are fully professional, they know what they're
Yeah.
doing, and they absolutely hold the crowd's attention like no one's business. Like it's nuts.
For sure, yeah, like one of the best bands out of Winnipeg in a long time, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess what they're doing, really, I mean, is like they're sort of taking what you do, the same type of thing you do, then deconstructing it and then rebuilding it, right? Like they take a beat and then completely take it apart, and then find a way to put it back together with all these pieces that maybe you wouldn't expect to be kind of involved in it.
And that is not an easy thing to
No,
do.
no.
That, like, reverse engineering
Yeah,
someone else's music just by ear,
yeah,
like that is nuts. And they
it's
did it
crazy.
with 6 or 7 songs made by like a bunch of teenagers basically, and they made them sound like so cool.
Yeah,
That was a crazy experience. But yeah, shout out to those guys for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. If people are hearing about you for the first time on this, and I know you mentioned, if anyone wants to collaborate with you, you get in touch for sure. But how do people find out more information? How do they see the videos? How do they hear stuff you've done? What's the best option there?
So right now my main focus is on my Instagram. That's at _ Josue Davi _ or Josue Davi.
Okay.
Um, I also go by the same name on YouTube. I've recently been learning about the TikTok world,
Okay.
so
I know
I'm
nothing about that world. I've avoided it thus far. I think I'm going to continue avoiding it.
I get it. I fully get it. It's useful.
Yeah.
Like it has the audience there, so like that's why like I feel like for me it's kind of like a if you can't beat them, join them kind of
Yeah,
deal.
sure, sure.
Like
Yeah, if you know how to use it, might as well, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like I figured if it's that much like potential reach there,
Sure, yeah.
then I shouldn't put my nose up at it, even if like I'm 21, so it's like kind of my
You're in the age
generation.
you're in the age group for it. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm a little out of it. Like before I had it as a tool for music, I didn't get it either. Like that
Yeah.
was one moment where like one of my earliest like feeling like out of touch old man moments, because I was
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
seeing these videos of like, you know, people who are in high school now, and I'm like, I was in high school just a few years ago, but definitely this wasn't our humor. Like, I don't
Yeah,
understand what
yeah.
this is. And no disrespect, like it's just another, you know, like I was saying, like there's people who are fully put off to you know, hip hop, and that's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
something that I get, and you know, people understand what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
But yeah, sorry, off on a little tangent
It's all
there.
good. It's all
So
good. So you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok. Where else can people find you? So YouTube?
yeah, and on YouTube, I have a Bandcamp with like 2 things on it.
Yeah, I found
So
that today. I was listening to it, but yeah, there's 2 tracks on there.
oh oh yeah, that's that was one of the Brazilian ones on there that I was talking about. I played that one at my shows. Um, but yeah, I also am on Spotify. Again, there's one like beat mashup thing I have on there, but for now, yeah, primary page is my Instagram. That's where I'm posting, you know, new beat video almost every day.
Yeah.
And trying to not kill myself while I do it, but put myself in some risky
Yeah.
situations. So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
would recommend anyone should check those out because I mean, even if you're not, it's not your type of music. Like the fact that you are doing it on a train track or in a moving vehicle, it adds to it for sure. And like the beats are good, which helps, right? I mean, it's actually
yeah,
enjoyable to listen to too. But there's this element of danger about it, which is cool.
yeah. That's the thing. Like, realize like getting the music good is like only the first step. Like
Yeah,
in how the industry is now, like
yeah, yeah,
it's
it's
not
true.
enough to have good music. You need to, you know,
You need to
have
sell yourself
good
somehow, right?
business or
Yeah,
good, you know, you could have a gimmick where you just find stupid places to do it.
yeah, totally, totally.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, so they're cool. I mean, like I said, it caught my attention for sure, and I'm
yeah,
sure a lot of the people are probably hearing about it for the first time through that. So it's I think it's working.
yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
thank you so much.
yeah, yeah, no problem. So yeah, I'm glad we can do this, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And I'm definitely gonna keep an ear out for what you're up to in the future because, like I said, I really like what I've heard so far, and hopefully when this pandemic eventually ends and there's live shows again, hopefully you'll be being more active doing stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for giving me the chance to come on here. I'm a fan of the show, so this has been a goal of mine for a while, but
Right on.
I didn't want to come off like thirsty and be like, hey, listen to my music, let me on your show. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just figured when the
Well, I
time
probably
was
would have
right,
said
I'll
yes.
come.
I probably would have been like, "Oh, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, let's come with the show." But yeah, no, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. Okay, awesome, man. Thanks a lot.